Hi, friends. It's Carrie from Stretch T. Welcome to class today. It's Monday. I just got something in my eye, like just now. So hopefully I don't just like cry through class. See what happens. I hope you all are doing well. I'm really excited to be here today. Mondays are always fun because I don't stretch on Sundays. I take Sundays off, to rest or to cook. I spent a lot of time cooking yesterday. And took a long nap. It was great. It was such a beautiful day for it too. So, after a day of sitting around, I always feel like stretching is a pretty awesome idea. So I'm excited for today. Now, those of you who are new to online class, there are a couple of things that I do that are different than, normal life. And one of them is that I take a card from this deck. This is called the FitFab Me deck. I think that's what it's called. Me Fitness, something, New Me Fitness, that's what it's called. And I pick a card from it, and that card is what we end up kind of playing around with. It's a yoga pose. It doesn't mean that we're going to do yoga. It's just we're going to kind of see how our body reacts to a position. I'm going to teach you how to use the Ki-Hara principles to access. Whoa, apparently we're going to use that one. Oh, this is a fun one. Thread the needle. This one's all about our lats, and it's a really beautiful stretch. So I think, you guys will really love this one. You will love it, love it, love it. So we'll focus on that today. I also have been pulling cards from my Osho Zen deck because, it's kind of a fun time right now to think about transformation and how you're changing and growing, what life is like for you. And interesting. All right. So I've just been picking 3 cards, and these cards it's a Zen deck, so, it's kind of like tarot, but they just have little words on the bottom, like the miser is somebody who just holds on, that's not the one, holds on a little too much to things. And then, good morning, Pat. Thanks for writing in the chat. We have patience, which is just about kind of like planting seeds and waiting for those seeds to come to fruition. This woman is actually pregnant and kind of waiting for the time to come, but it just means whatever you're creating to allow it the time to grow and nurture. And then we also have integration, which is about balancing out your yin and yang harmonies. Now, all of these 3 cards are really fascinating when it comes to stretching because we hold on to things in our bodies and our muscles. Sometimes we hold on to things for too long. Last night I was watching Sherlock. Have you guys seen that with Benedict Cumberbatch? It's so good, and it's been out for years, and it's been such a long time since I watched it. And the internet's getting boring after a month and a half of being in my house. So I actually I watched it, and there's this whole scene where Sherlock and Dr. Watson are running through the streets and whatever, and Watson has had a cane forever because he was injured in the war, and he holds on to his pain, but it's psychosomatic and they all know it. So he finds that by being involved in the crazy nutso work of Sherlock Holmes, he lets go of his pain, and he actually ends up running all the way through the street, which is kind of crazy, but kind of cool. So we can think about what are we holding on to kind of psychosomatically, and can we start to let go of that stuff? Talking about patience is really cool because sometimes we need a little patience in our body. We need to be able to say to ourselves, it's okay for you to take the time that you need. And then integration is all about balancing your harmonies, harmonizing your body from front to back, from top to bottom, from side to side, and really working through harmony. So that's awesome. So we'll work through all of that stuff. Now, for any of you guys who are on live today, please say hi. Let me know that you're here. As long as you're watching live, you can check in with me and write in the chat. And I can actually check in the chat during each stretch. If there's something you're not feeling or you're not quite understanding, go ahead and write that in the chat, and I'll address it live in class. Some of the benefits of being here live, right? One more thing, very, very quick this is important because my studio is closed right now and I need all the support I can get. So there are a couple ways that you guys can support me. Whatever way resonates with you, feel free to give back energetically in that way. The number one top dog, best thing in all of life that you can do is subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that before. The more subscriptions I get, the more YouTube puts my content out for other people. But also, once I get a certain number of subscribers, I can actually make money off of YouTube, which is important because then it's, it's coming from advertisers instead of from you guys. The second way is if you're able to contribute to the channel financially, then please do. If you have the ability to do that, that keeps me actually able to buy the things I need and pay for internet and all of those wonderful things. Please share this comment with your friends or this content with your friends if you know anybody who could use it. Give me a thumbs up if you like the channel, and leave a comment if you can. Any of those things, any of them or all of them would be fantastic, but you do what feels the best to you, okay? I know we're all in different places right now. Some people have all the time in the world but no money. Some people have no time and lots of money. Some people have, you figure out what works. So I want to make sure that this content goes out to as many people as possible and that I'm able to actually help as many as I can. So I'm doing it. So, if you feel like giving back, please do. All right, I'm just going to set up the camera for class. We're all set here. Get your mat set up, and we'll get started. All right. All right. Okay. Oh, I want to grab those cards too, so I don't forget what we're doing today. Okay, so the first stretch is this thread the needle stretch. So I want to just take a second and approach the stretch in a way that you can just explore it for right now. It is a stretch that's on your knees, but you don't necessarily have to do it on your knees. You could translate the stretch onto the wall, and I could even show you how to do that, okay? So you take what works the best for you. If you're able to get onto your hands and knees, then go for it. You're going to take your right arm up across your mat here, and then your left hand, you're going to drop down. And so as you do that, I should probably do this the other direction so you can see me. As you do this, you're going to look like you thread the needle. You look under your arm and you try to pull. This is my right arm. It could be your left arm. Pull it through so that you can see. And then just notice what you feel in this stretch. Now, how could we make this a resistance stretch? Well, this would be your starting position. And the resistance would come from trying to pull yourself back into that position. So you're kind of trying to pull both arms away from you. I would probably focus more on my left arm, the one over my head, and then push both arms into the ground as you thread the needle. So just play around with that in the way that feels the best to you. If you want to try this on the wall, if you're like, that is just not happening, let me get this up a little. There we go. So you can see my wall. You would bring one arm up, take your right arm up, your left arm underneath, and just play around with it like this. So you could just go back and forth. But what you want to do is go from looking at the wall to turning to thread the needle and look under your armpit. Okay? Interesting. This is a very lat-heavy stretch, so we can kind of explore what the lats want to do and then go from there. All right? Okay. Let's go right into that lat stretch. So this one is one you can do seated. You can sit on a chair, or you can sit cross-legged. You can sit on your knees, whatever feels the best to you. Bring your right arm up and drop it behind your back, and grab your elbow with your other hand. And then from here, try to pull both arms apart. So you're going to access to the side here to activate these muscles in your lats. Then use your left arm to pull you down and forward towards your left knee and back up for strength. So you just go back and forth, up for strength and down for stretch. Up for strength and down for stretch. You should feel this from your armpit down towards your hips. And if you don't feel that, or if it feels bad in any way, either let me know in the chat, or you can skip this stretch if that feels like the right thing for you. We can come back to it. I mean, we're actually going to explore a lot the lats through here and see if we can get them opened up. So you pull up for strength and you use your left arm to pull you down for your stretch, towards your left knee, and back up. Just find the way that feels good to you. Find the distance that feels good to you, and the amount of resistance that feels good, right? And remember, you guys, if you've not done resistance stretching before, or if you're just getting back into it, if it's been a while, there are 3 rules that you want to follow. The first rule is that you move all the time, so never hold a stretch. The second rule is that you resist all the time, so make sure that you're finding some bite in the muscle, that you're keeping the muscles engaged while you. And I'll try to help you figure out how that works, but you know, if you have any questions or if anything feels complicated, let me know. In the last rule is if anything hurts, skip it, okay? It means that you're not ready for that stretch yet. It means that your body needs to do some other things. And since I can't really address you right now like I would in a group class, or I could just come over to you and say, no, do this instead, or to 2 different stretch, you can either let me know in the chat and I'll try to address it the best way that I can. I am on a little bit of a time delay, so if you do put something into the chat, just hang tight for about 30 seconds, and usually I'll get back to it. Hi, sorry. And then also, I have tons of other videos on my YouTube page for problem solving, for learning stretches like one by one, so you can always learn different stretches. Well, hi there. You're so cute. Yeah, hello. Okay, let's do the other side. So bring your left arm up, grab your elbow with the other hand, and try to resist both arms by pulling your elbows down towards your waist, and then pull this time towards your right knee. Up for strength, and down for stretch. Up for strength, and down for stretch. 11 a.m. class is usually Suri's happy time, where she's cuddly. Hi, Baba. Yeah, you're cute. Usually during a 9 a.m. class, she's either asleep or playing a lot. Up for strength and down for stretch. It's a good one. You should feel this from your armpit down to your waist. If you don't feel that, feel free to skip it and just move into the next stretch when it's time, okay? We're going to revisit this one. So if you're not feeling it right now, it's okay. Just take a breath, take a breather, go get a glass of water, do whatever. Come back and meet me when it's time to do the next stretch, okay? Or, you know, if you're watching this pre-recorded, fast forward to the next one. It's totally fine, right? All right. Oh, got you. Okay, so now let's go into a stretch for the top of our shoulders. So I usually like to sit on my knees for this one. You don't have to. Just sit in the way that feels the best to you. Bring your right arm into the side of your body, and your left arm will grab your wrist on top. Your arms are going to be really squared. So like I look like this, I always think of like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Remember those metal toys that would be like pow, pow, and then the guy's head would pop. Anyway, so hold your arm into the side, grab your wrist with your left hand, and push up to the right. And then use your left hand to push you back down to the left. When you get to the bottom, if it feels good to you, drag your head to the left so that your ear comes close to your shoulder. And you're going to feel a stretch from your ear down to the tip of your shoulder, somewhere in there. It should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, again, just skip the stretch. It's not your stretch for today. So do what feels right to you, okay? Up for strength and down for stretch, and your head to the side. And you just go up and down, a little back and forth, up for strength and down for stretch. And just notice the top of your shoulder there. See if you can find that. I usually like to do a little head nod, a little forward and back, to see if you can get the stretch to wrap around your neck a little bit more. So up for strength and down for stretch. I love it that she's hanging out with us today. Such a good cat. Such a good cat. Yes. Okay, so bring your left arm in, grab your wrist with the other hand, try to pull both arms apart, and push up for strength, and then down for your stretch. When you get to the end, drag your head to the right this time. See if you can find that stretch in your neck. What is that? It's really strange. I had an alarm set on my phone for 11:15 in the morning for no reason at all. I have no idea how that got there. Very funny. It must mean something. Up for strength and down for stretch. Your head to the side. And give it a little nod. See if you can find that stretch through your neck. And just go up and down. Take your time. See how the stretch feels. See what feels right to you. And again, if it doesn't feel good, skip it. That's what you do. That's the rule of class. Don't push yourself through something that doesn't feel good. And I can't tell you guys enough, and I know it's frustrating sometimes, but I can't tell you enough. If you just started resistance stretching, it's quite possible that 75% of the stretches in class won't be accessible to you right now. And that's okay. Every day you do it, you try it, you see, and then as you open up more, you're going to notice that instead of only getting those 25% of stretches that feel good, maybe you'll have 40%. And then over 50%. And then eventually it'll just be maybe one stretch or two stretches that don't quite feel right. And then before you know it, your entire body is balanced out and all the stretches feel correct, unless you do something silly, right? Like if you tripped and fell, or if you did some sort of funny workout, or if you sat on your couch all day, you might notice that you have some funny imbalances, right? But for right now, don't be hard on yourself if you find yourself skipping a lot of stretches. It just means that you're on the beginning of your journey. And as you keep doing these stretches more and more, you'll find that level changes, okay? I promise it's how it works. All right, so the next stretch we're going to do is for your rotator cuff. So take your hands together, interlock your fingers, bring your thumbs over your head, and let your thumbs just hover right over your crown, right over the top of your head. And then from here, squeeze your elbows, like you're trying to pop a balloon between your arms, and then open up so that you feel your shoulder blades kind of come together in the back, and then resist and push your elbows together. So it should feel like there's effort, right? Like you're trying to really pop, like you're trying to squeeze in. You kind of have to create that resistance on your own. You just don't open and close like relax, but find that tension in the muscle and open and close. You should feel this in the back of your shoulders. It's okay if you don't get your shoulders closed all the way. You just go as far as you feel like you can. That's totally fine. And you just go back and forth. Open for strength and close it up for your stretch. You got it. Good work. Take a second and honor your patience right now. If you feel like you're I don't know why I can't get my elbows closed. Okay, just be patient. These things take time. Healing takes time. And you can't expect yourself to just all of a sudden be balanced out right now because you're doing a stretching class, right? So take your time, be patient, allow yourself to do what feels good to you. Notice that if you get really tired and you only want to do 4 or 5 repetitions, that's okay because that's where you are right now. And your body is able to talk to you and tell you exactly what it needs. So be patient, enjoy these stretches until you don't enjoy them, and then let it go and stop doing them, okay? The next stretch we're going to do is downward facing dog in yoga. You're going to go onto all fours and come up onto your toes so that your legs are straight, but you don't have to have your heels on the floor. Push up as tall as you can onto your tippy toes, and then use your arms to push your feet back down towards the floor. So just kind of unlock my ankles and let my heels come down. And I'm also going to push my head through, and that gives me a little bit of a stretch through the front of my shoulders. You might not feel that. You might just feel your calves. That's okay. Just do what feels good to you. But if I don't let my heels come all the way to the ground, I feel a little bit through my armpits. And that's what we want, a little bit of bicep pec stretch, but definitely through the calves. Up for strength and down for your stretch. And you just go back and forth. Do as many as you want, or as few as you want. Just honor yourself and what your body needs, okay? And just do what feels right to you. Oh, good. It's a little warm here in my room today. Okay for me. I guess it's better than being cold, right? Definitely. Awesome. People ask me a lot of times, like, how many repetitions should I do? And again, you take what feels good to your body. That could be 5 or 6 repetitions. It could be up to 10 repetitions. Sometimes you might feel like you want to do more, but I'd say any more than 10 is probably enough. You don't have to push yourself through. If you find yourself thinking, oh my gosh, I've got 2 more to get to 10, and I'm going to power through and do it, then you're doing too many. Okay? Your body should feel like it's comfortable doing the repetitions that you want to do. Got it? That's kind of how you choose how many to do. Okay? All right. Now we're going to go into a stretch for your lats again. So we're going to come onto our knees this time. And if this doesn't feel good to you, again, you can do it on the wall like we did before. So it's kind of like an intro to the thread the needle. So you're going to bring your right arm across to the left corner of your mat and pull with that arm towards your knee. So you pull your right hand towards your right knee. And as you do that, you sit back and you'll feel the stretch from your from your armpit down towards your hip. And then you use your arm to pull you back up. And you just go back and forth. If this stretch is completely impossible to you, like if your knees are like, I do not want to do that, then coming against the wall with your arm across like this, you can stand up and just pull into the stretch like this and use your arm to kind of pull you back up and just go back and forth like this. And that would be totally fine, okay? Now, as you're in the stretch, we can think about this idea of integration. So we have these muscles here that we're working on. We also have muscles on the top of our shoulders that need to shorten so that we can stretch out the bottom here. So as you're going into this stretch, pay attention to the top of your shoulder and notice how those muscles are kind of like crunching up, how they are contracting on their own without even any, like, you don't have to physically do it. Like, you don't have to think, okay, I'm going to contract the muscle here. And actually, if you do, you'd probably ruin it. You just let your subconscious figure out that that muscle needs to shorten so that your lats can lengthen. And you just go back and forth. This is the yin and yang of our body, right? We have a lot of different ones, but if you think about it, you can't lift your arm up like this and stretch here if these muscles are lock up and don't let you go that far, right? And vice versa. You can't bring your arm all the way down unless these muscles will shorten enough to let you do that, okay? It's all about the balance between the two and the regulating force. And that's just like patience and the idea of waiting until tomorrow to do these stretches again, because after you've cleaned up the things that really need work done, then the other ones will open up, okay? So let's take our left arm across. So you grab the right corner of your mat with your left hand, and then sit back to stretch out the left side of your body here. You can do this on the wall if you want also. So down for stretch and up for strength. Now against the wall, again, it would look like this. See if you can see me here. I think you can. You bring your arm up kind of diagonally across your body, and you pull your hip away from your hand. So I'm just leaning. This is my left arm, and I'm leaning onto my left foot, sticking my hip out to the left, and then I use my left arm to pull me back up. So back and forth. This is my left arm. On the video, it probably looks like the right arm, right, because it's mirrored. So just do what feels right to you. You might need to flip to your right arm. Good job, friends. Good job. I'm just going to switch this. I like to look at who's here and make sure that video is looking good. Okay. So let's move on to some stretches for our legs. Now, part of getting into this thread the needle pose is being able to get onto your knees, right, to be able to bend your legs. So let's work on getting a little bit more flexibility through our quads, some knee mobility, through the groin to be able to fold here, right? And I know that, like, Sometimes it's a little tricky and difficult. So I'm going to give you different options for these stretches, and we'll try to take it really easy and see if we can get a little bit more mobility through the legs, okay? So let's start off with your quads. So I'm going to have you lay on your back, and you'll bring your right leg up, grab the back of your thigh with both hands, and hook your left leg on top. Then from here, kick both legs together. So your top leg is going to pull down, your back leg is going to push up, and you push up with the bottom leg, and pull down with the top leg. And you just go back and forth in the range that feels really good to you. Yeah, hi, Bubba. Up for strength and down for stretch. This might not feel like a huge stretch for you, but you'll start to notice that you feel a good burn in your quads, and that's a really good sign. If this hurts your knee, don't do it. If you can go in a smaller range of motion and feel okay, then go for that. So up for strength and down for stretch. Good job. And if there are any of you that know the stretch on the wall for the quads and you want to do that instead, you can do that. So go for it. So up for strength and down for stretch. And then we're going to switch sides. So bring your right leg on top, your left leg's underneath, or whichever one you did before, you can just swap them. Hold your leg behind, push up for strength, and down for stretch. So I'm using my top leg to pull me down. I'm using my bottom leg to push up and down. Knees are definitely one of those things that people really hold on to. It's like, I have knee pain. Like, do you identify with your knees as being like, well, I have bad knees, right? Do you have that in you? You know, it's kind of one of those common things that people just assume, like they need to baby their knees a little bit. And you do. You need to be really nice to them, especially if you've had an injury there, of course. But as you're working through this, think about that thing of like, okay, am I just identifying with the fact that I can't be on my knees? Or do I really legitimately have an issue with my knees? And either way, it's fine. But it's interesting to think about, right? So you can kind of take that and say like, okay, maybe I had a knee issue in the past, and now I can do this. Now I can do this much, and I know I feel safe. So you move in the way that feels good to you, see where you feel safe, and then that becomes your new normal, right? So instead of thinking like, well, I have bad knees, or I can't do this thing because of my knee problems, you can think, well, I can do this much with my knees today. And that's okay, that's enough, right? Because your knees do function. Like, you don't just have bad knees. If you have bad knees, like, you wouldn't be able to walk at all. It's like good and bad, but there's a spectrum, right? So where's your spectrum? I think that's important sometimes to recognize. Now, I want to dive into these knees and quads a little bit further by doing some squats, just really basic squats, not anything crazy. So what you're going to do is come up into a standing position. I'm just standing here with my feet straight forward, my knees in front of my feet, you know, just like straight up and down, standing. And then what you're going to do is just try to sit back and challenge to where you feel safe and that you can come right back up. And it might just be a little bit, or it might be a lot, right? So you can challenge. When you feel like you're going to fall or you don't feel stable or you want to hold on to something, that's when you know you've gone too far. If you feel any pain in your knees at all, you've gone too far. So just listen to yourself and say like, oh, that's enough, and then come right back up. So it looks kind of like this from the side. Sometimes I like to put my hands out in front just to kind of counterbalance. And you can sit down as far as your body wants to go and then push right back up, okay? You don't want to test it past its limits. Your body knows what its limits are, okay? It'll tell you. It'll scream at you if you've gone too far. So take your time, be patient, recognize that pain and limitations are a spectrum, and you can go in the spectrum that feels good to you, and then you come right back up, okay? You should feel safe the whole time. So if it's this much, that's okay. Totally fine, right? So take your time, be patient, notice that there's a spectrum that you're working on, and play around with that spectrum. And that spectrum will change every day. It doesn't matter whether it's, You know, whether you go further than you did yesterday or whether it's more than the day before, that doesn't matter because every day is brand new. And so you're on a spectrum, right? Okay, so now we're gonna work on our inner thighs, inner hamstrings. So you're gonna lay on your back. Bring your left leg up and let your knee open up to the side, and then grab your heel with your left hand, your thumb on the bottom. You'll kick down for strength all the way down towards your body, and then pull up for your stretch. And as you pull up, you'll start to feel the stretch on the inner part of your hamstring. It should be right here, like on your inner thigh. If you're having trouble reaching this or it feels really uncomfortable, grab your big toe. That's sometimes a little easier for people. You could also use a towel or a strap. And I usually have one right here. I don't know where it went. I must have cleaned. I'll tell you guys, every day runs into the other day, so I never know. Like, oh, I must have, maybe I was planning to do laundry, and I moved it, and then I didn't do laundry. So kick down for strength and up for stretch. Now, what's really interesting to think about in this one, too, is the yin and yang. So think about the pulling down here, and this muscle is shortening. And as I do that, the muscle in the back lengthens out. That's your quad. It's getting stretched right now because you're basically going to squat in this position, right? You just don't have your full body weight on you. Then pull up. And as you pull up, the quad is shortening and this muscle lengthens. And you just go back and forth. We're integrating the yin and the yang at the front and the back so that when one shortens, the other lengthens and vice versa. And you see how your body works together. Pretty cool. And again, just work in the range if it feels good to you. If this doesn't feel good, just skip it. Or you can just try some of my problem solving videos. This one would be medial hamstring. So you might want to, take a pen and write that down, right? Medial hamstring problem solving. And let's go ahead and switch sides. So grab your right foot with your right hand, whether you grab your heel or whether you grab your toe or whether you put a rope or a strap or a towel around it. Doesn't matter. Kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. And then just notice the pulling down, the strength training, the contraction of the hamstring here while this one lengthens. And then as you come up, your quad shortens, your hamstring lengthens. I mean, you can even feel this. If you put your hand on your quads, when you kick down, you can feel your quads stretch out. And as you pull up, you can feel your quads shorten. It's happening passively. I don't want to say passively so much. It's happening subconsciously. You are not consciously contracting your quad. You are consciously contracting your hamstring, right? So if you tried to, if you slipped, your foot would kick down, your arm would fly up. So the conscious energy is all on the hamstring. But your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are working together here. It's all integrating. Kicking down for strength and pulling up for stretch in the range that feels good to you. Finding some balance with yin and yang. It's kind of fun, right? To see how your body balances out. I think it's really fun. All right, friends. Bring your feet together in a butterfly position and put your elbows on your knees. You can push up with your knees into your arms, and that will strength train the muscle in the front here. And then use your arms to open you up into the stretch, to feel it on your inner thighs. And then you just push up for strength and down for stretch. If you don't feel your inner thighs, or if this feels bad for your back, or something just isn't right in the stretch, you can sit on a block. That might help it, or on a pillow, just to raise your pelvis up a little higher off the floor. You could also do this on the wall. So on the wall, it looks like this. You get close to the wall, lay on your back and bring your feet together, and then you just squeeze in for strength and open for stretch. So you just go back and forth like this. And that's just a different way to try to stretch out and see how that feels for you, right? But of course, if you feel anything different, like if you feel the outside of your hips, you feel your glutes, so it just feels uncomfortable, if you feel any pain, then this isn't your stretch today. And you can let it go, right? So up for strength and down for stretch. And again, this one, we can take that same idea that we had with the quads, that idea of like holding on to pain because you identify with it in some way, right? So if you notice yourself being like, well, I can't do that because it hurts my back, or I've never been able to get my knees to the floor, recognize that everything's a spectrum. And there's certain things that you can hold on to and other things that you don't need to hold on to. So as you kick up here, there's like a give and take between your arms and your legs. And when that give and take has become enough, then you can come right back up. And it's okay if it's just a little bit, right? So you just go this far. You find yourself in a spectrum that feels good to you. And if it doesn't feel good, skip it completely. So up for strength and down for stretch. All right, friends. Now we're going to go into a stretch for our lateral hamstring. Now this one is kind of, I find, pretty easy to do if you get against a wall, or you could sit back against like the edge of a chair or something, like a comfortable chair, like a lazy boy or something like that, where you feel like you've got some cushion behind you if you need it, or just against the wall is fine. And then bring your left leg up, take your right arm and reach across your shin and grab your split. And then you're going to rotate internal. So your knee will try to come in towards your elbow. Kick down towards your hip for strength. You're pushing down to the left side. And then as you pull up over your right shoulder. And if you don't have to go all the way to your shoulder, it's okay. I'm pretty flexible in this, but I only come up like, it looks like this far. And that's fine, okay? So you just do what feels good to you, okay? If you need a strap or a rope to extend the length, that's fine. You could use that. I wish I had mine with me. I'm sorry about that, guys. Down for strength and up for stretch. You should feel it right through here. And remember to be patient with yourself. Be gentle. Recognize that this stretch is something that you will learn and grow with over time. The tension just doesn't remove itself immediately. A lot of the tension in your body is built by neuromuscular connections. So you can't just like completely change how your neuromuscular system works together like that. Sometimes we can make changes pretty quick, but sometimes those limitations and the fears have been there for a really long time, right? So you can play around with the things that feel good to you for today, and then be patient and recognize that tomorrow will be a different day and the next day will be a different day, right? And that every day maybe you'll make a little bit of progress, and then sometimes it'll be really big progress in one day, and other days it won't be very much progress at all. But either way, it's totally fine. So bring your your right leg up, take your left arm and reach across your body and internally rotate so your knee will come in towards your elbow. Your heel will turn out a little bit to the right, and you kick down for strength and pull up for your stretch. Again, you should feel the stretch on the outer side of your right leg, kind of through the hamstring here. And just take your time with it. Be very patient. It's easy to get frustrated, but it's a lot more enjoyable to recognize what your body can do today and just be happy with that. What do you got here, right? What do you have? Can you move this far? Can you use a rope to extend so that you feel a little safer? Move in small ranges of motion. And recognize that today is just one step of the process. And with a little patience, you'll find that you can do the stretch in a really easy way, okay? When I first started stretching, when I first started doing Ki-Hara, I was in so much pain and I was miserable. And my whole body was completely out of alignment. I was in my 20s. I was in pain like people that I see now who are in their 60s. I mean, I was definitely in a pretty screwed up body from playing piano for many, many, many years and just totally uprooting, like getting out of my balance, right? Everything was imbalanced. And so it took a long time to open up. And I've learned more as I've gotten, more advanced through my training and as I've worked with more people. I've learned how to shorten that process. But I'll tell you, it took me quite some time to get to the point where these stretches felt really good. There were some stretches that were just really tough for me, and other ones that I felt like my body was just going to split right in half, right? And I didn't push through them. I think that's the most important thing. Honor yourself where you are. Don't push through anything. And then eventually it just opens up. I mean, I had one day where like somebody was like, oh, you're stretching a bunch, well, can you touch your toes? And I was like, I don't know, I've never been able to touch my toes before. And then I bent over and touched my toes like it was nothing, right? That's how it works. And I know it seems pretty weird to think about, but that's kind of how it is. So let's go back into our squat. You're going to come onto your feet again, straight, just sitting straight up, standing straight up. And very slowly, try to go into the squat. Trust yourself where you are and release what you've been holding on to about your ideas of where you could go in the past. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that you go any further than you need to go. But as you trust yourself, then you can go a little further and push yourself back up. You're saying, your whole body is saying, oh, I can get out of that. I can do that now. Trust it. Recognize that your hamstrings are shortening as you come down, that your quads are lengthening, and that you can go into that squat and then push right back up and just go as far as your body wants to go. Be patient. Notice how your whole body's working together, and as you come up, you're safe, and that's how we build trust. That's how you learn, this is what I can do now, this is who I am now, okay? Even if it's just a little bit more, or even if it's less, now you know a little bit more about what your body can do, okay? All right, friends, let's try, let's go into, I think we'll go into our stretch for our pecs now, see if we can open up through here a little bit more. So we're going to go into a push-up position. You can do these push-ups on the wall if you want, or you can do them on the floor. I'll show you on the wall because I'm finding that this works really well for me lately. You're going to go into like almost like a push-up position. I'm leaning into the wall so that I feel my body weight into my hands. Right? I feel that I'm holding myself up. If I were to come up to a straight position, I can't reach the wall with my hands. So you definitely want to make sure that you have that feeling of holding yourself up. Your arms are going to be really wide, and then you just very slowly drop in towards the wall so that your forehead comes close, and then you use your arms to push you back up. So as you come into the stretch, you should feel the stretch from your sternum to the front of your shoulder, like right from here open to here. If that feels good, stick with it. If it doesn't feel good, you can skip it. If you feel this in the back of your shoulders, like through here, the back of your arms, just go ahead and wait it out. Wait until the next stretch, okay? This would be a good time to take a breather, to get some water, check your phone, and just go into that stretch. If you feel it in the front of your chest, you're good to go. And you can do as many or as few as you want. You're in charge. Right? Good stuff. It's good stuff. Okay, now let's push up the back of your shoulders now. So have a seat in a way that feels really comfortable to you. I like to be on my knees, like I said before, but you can sit however you want. And even in a chair, you could stay standing up if that feels good to you. Bring your right arm up and grab your elbow with your left hand. You're going to resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. And then push open for strength. So you'll push open towards the right wall, and then pull for your stretch. So you're pulling to the left wall. Keep your back, though, facing the back wall. So you don't twist at your hips, but you open up and you feel your shoulders move. And then you pull across, and you can see my left elbow is bending, and my right arm is stretching. So open for strength and close for your stretch. Hi, sorry. What is it? She coos like a pigeon. She's yeah. Hi, Bubba. I think, it's such a funny time for us right now that, I've had my studio for so long downtown, and I have no idea what's going to happen with it, but I'm starting to lean towards, maybe trying to find another place than not putting so much into a brick and mortar studio, especially downtown. We'll see. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I think it's really funny that all of a sudden I've welcomed all of you into my home, right? Without welcoming you into my home. It's always been very important to me to have like a third space, like a neutral space that was for stretching. And I guess YouTube has become that thing now. But now instead of me talking about my cats to you guys, you get to be friends with Surrey, right? Yeah. So as we do the other side, you're going to push this time towards the left wall and pull across towards the right. And you just go back and forth. Open for stretch. Open for strength and pull across for your stretch. Make sure you keep your back straight so you're not turning your hips. You're just moving from the shoulder joint. It's like she wants something and I'm not quite sure what it is. I'm not quite sure what she wants. Okay. All right, so the next stretch we're going to do is for the back of your shoulders. So you can stay seated just like this, or you can stand up, whatever feels good. Bring your right arm across your body and grab your wrist with your left hand, and you're going to resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. So push up for strength and pull down for stretch. And as you pull down, you're pulling towards your left hip. Your back is, again, staying straight with the wall. You could even lean against the wall if that feels good to you. So up for strength, then down for stretch. When you get to the bottom, bring your head over to the other side. So I'm bringing my head this time towards the left to find the stretch through my neck. You can nod your head a little bit so you can find it a little bit more. Usually it helps me in this one. If I look up to the right, I can feel it more. Up for strength and down for stretch. And pull your head over to the left. She's got her feet on my foot. She's like holding my foot. It's real cute. Hi, Boo-Boo. Down for your stretch. Bring your head to the side. Find your neck stretch. Up for strength and down for stretch. She's just all love today. Hi, baby girl. Yeah, no, don't scratch me. Don't do it. Oh, now she wants to play. Okay. Come here. Go get it. That's all she needed. Okay, so now bring your left arm across. Grab your wrist with your right hand. Push up for strength. And then pull down for your stretch. And this time, pull your head over to the right side. Maybe if you look up with your eyes to the left, you might feel that stretch a little more in your neck. You should feel this all on your left shoulder, or the back of your shoulder, and through your neck on the back. Like the back of your neck right here on the left. It's your trapezius muscle, if you guys know your muscles. So down for your stretch, you're pulling down towards your right hip, your head goes to the right. So your neck stretches from your ear to your shoulder, and as you pull that arm away, it kind of creates a triangle from your head to your wrist to your shoulder. It's like everything's pulling in that direction. Up for strength and down for stretch. And real quick too, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. There's a little button in the corner that you can click that looks like a play icon. And then there's also a bell icon. It looks like a little bell. And if you click that, you'll get notified whenever I have stretching class. Sometimes I forget to post these. I forget to send out emails, or I forget to post. And I want to make sure that you guys know. So if you click that bell icon, you'll get the notification. Also, I'm doing life renovations courses now, which are little short classes that I put up throughout the week. And those classes are lessons for how to find your unique purpose, to live a happier life. I've had students in life renovations that have gone on to get new jobs, have gone on to get married, who have gone on to really expand their lives in really amazing ways. And so I'm putting life renovations up in short segments throughout the week right now, just to give you guys a little extra boost. So come onto your feet and your hands behind you with your fingers pointing towards your feet. And you're going to rotate your shoulders in towards your body. And then use your arms to push you up. So you push your chest up towards the ceiling. You let your shoulders open. And then you pull right back in. If you feel like this is a good stretch for you and you feel safe, you can start to think about lifting your hips up. And it might just start out as a little lift. It might just even start out as shifting your weight to your hands off your hips. That could be it. And then you lift your hips up towards the ceiling and open up. And you just go back and forth. Let me check. I think this is you who wrote. There should be a little button next to the subscription button that has a bell icon. It'll look like a little bell, like you ring a bell. And if you click that, it'll give you notifications. Okay, so that's either on my direct page where it says subscriptions. You should be able to find it there. If you're watching this on your TV, it might not be as easy to find, so you might have to actually go to the YouTube channel on your phone or on your computer. So as you notice in this one, you can come all the way up if it feels good to you. Lifting your hips up, letting your head come back, and you just go back and forth. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I've got a lot of really cool things happening on the channel right now with Life Renovations, which is a journal, like a guided journaling each week, a lesson, a meditation, a diet challenge, which is, I don't give you a diet to do, but it's basically like information. And then through that week, you explore things. Like this week's challenge, last week's challenge actually was to look through your pantry and see if there's anything that has like more than 3 ingredients that you don't know, like preservatives and things like that, and see if you can find a replacement for those things. So like instead of having like pancake syrup that's shelf stable, maybe having maple syrup where the only ingredient is maple syrup from a tree, right? So that's the challenge. And then as we go through the course, there will be different challenges where you can try to find a diet that works the best for you, like an anti-inflammatory specific diet, okay? So there's stuff like that. And then I also have been doing tarot card readings, like once or twice a week, based off of Life Renovations. So those are actually really fun too, but they're more just for fun. So that's a good one. Okay, let's see. Let's go now back to our push-up. Okay, you can do the push-up again on the floor or on the wall, whatever feels the best for you. And then we'll keep moving, all right? So your arms here, nice and wide, and then elbows out, drop in for your stretch, and then you open up for strength. So you push yourself away from the wall. And then for your stretch, slowly, slowly, slowly lower yourself towards the wall. Now, if you want to do this as a push-up, you would do the same thing, but on your mat. Sorry, you're really in the way right now. Okay, don't let me get in your way. You could go on your knees or on your feet, and then very slowly drop yourself towards the floor. And when you feel like you've gone far enough, push back up. Now, again, just be patient with yourself and go as far as your body wants to go. So if you only go this far and back up, that's okay. Or like if I say ideally 10, I mean, when you first start doing push-ups, you might do 2. That's okay. Just do as many as your body wants to do. All right? All right. Yeah. Ouch, don't do that. Okay. So now we're going to go into a stretch for your hip flexors, because definitely to get into this position, you need to be able to bend at your hips. So bring your right leg in front of your left leg, and you're going to try to scissor both legs together. Now, if this is uncomfortable for your knees, just put some padding under there if that doesn't feel good. Or you can let me know in the chat, or just skip the stretch. So use your front leg to pull you forward. So my front leg is pulling me this way, and my back leg is trying to pull me back this way. In effect, my legs are trying to squeeze together. So it's basically like I'm trying to avoid going into the splits, and my legs are trying to pull me. So my front leg is like, pull into the splits, and my back leg is like, no, you go. And my front leg's like, no, you, in the splits. And so it's this tug of war between the two. My front leg wins and pulls me forward, so I get to stretch to the front here, and my back leg wins to pull me back. So this muscle shortens, right? And you just go back and forth. You can play around with this one a little bit. Be patient, take your time. It doesn't matter how many you do. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Just enjoy the stretch. Enjoy the process of this stretch. Enjoy the process of the movement from the back to the front. Let it take as long as it needs. Don't worry about keeping up with me or doing the repetitions that I do. You have to listen to your own body. You may notice in some of these stretches I do way fewer on one side and more on the other side. I don't count. And the reason why I don't count is because I let my body tell me when to start and stop. When it comes to stretching, specifically with resistance stretching, your body tells you way, way, way more than I could ever tell you. So one of the biggest lessons you'll learn is to listen to your own body, right? And one of those big lessons is to be patient with yourself, find how your body works together, feel the stretch in the right place, right in the front of your hip. And if it feels bad, it's okay. You can stop doing it, or you can move in smaller ranges, right? It's not about pushing yourself. It's about being patient. It's about enjoying the process, right? So now take your left leg in the front. You're going to try to pull it back, your right leg behind, and you're going to try to pull that knee forward. And then you use your front leg to pull you into the stretch, and you use your back leg to pull you out of the stretch. So again, you're just going to go back and forth. The front leg pulls you forward, and the back leg pulls you back. And you just go back and forth. Front leg forward, back leg pulls you back. Find that stretch in the front of your right hip. And just take your time and really listen to what's happening. Really enjoy every bit of the stretch. And as soon as you start to feel like you don't enjoy it anymore, then come out of it. And if you don't feel it at all, you don't enjoy it at all, then just skip it, because there's a reason for that. And today just might not be that day. Tomorrow might be that day, or Wednesday, right? Who knows? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are 11 a.m. class. So if you can commit that into your schedule 3 days a week, you're going to notice some pretty big changes in your body. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday is 9 a.m. So you could try those 3 days, or you could do any day, or if you have a weird schedule, these videos are all recorded, so you can always go back and watch them later. I would say commit to giving yourself 2 to 3 days a week of these stretches at a minimum, especially if you want to see some results. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, now we're going to work on our hamstrings. So you're going to lay on your back. Bring your right leg up and grab it with your hands here behind the ball of your foot or your heel. Sometimes I like to just grab my toes. That feels good. You'll kick down for strength and then pull up for stretch. If you need a strap or a towel, just wrap it around your foot. Just make sure you pull your arms over your head instead of just holding the towel tight. So down for strength and up for stretch. Hamstrings is another one of those stretches that people are always like, I have tight hamstrings, I can't touch my toes. And when you say something like that, you're putting yourself in a box, right? To say, I have tight hamstrings, well, what does that even mean? That's so subjective. It means that it's on a spectrum. So is this tight hamstrings? Is this tight hamstrings? Is this, what does it mean? It doesn't matter. If your leg was constantly in this position with your heel like this, even when you're standing up, if you were like hopping through the world like a flamingo, I would probably say, yeah, you have a really tight hamstring. But as you pull into the stretch and stretch more and more, you'll find that the hamstring starts to stretch. And as long as the hamstring can stretch, it's not tight. You might have a smaller range of motion than you think you should have, right? But that, again, is just an expectation. So you can let go of this idea of holding on to tight hamstring, feeling like I've never been able to touch my toes, I'll never be able to touch my toes. Well, that's not necessarily true, right? You don't know that. You know that today maybe you can go this far, and that's okay. That's the spectrum you're on. Eventually, it might open up more. And you just go back and forth. All right, so now grab your other leg with your left hand. It's my left leg and my left hand. I've just got my left hand here, wrapped around my toes and the balls of my foot, and I kick down for strength and pull up for stretch. I like that because I can hold my head up with the other hand. But you could grab the ball of your foot. You could grab your heel here. You could even grab your calf behind, or you could use a strap or a rope around your foot. And you just go up and down, kicking down for strength and up for stretch. And just to recognize where you start to put limitations on yourself, what kind of ideas you're holding on to about these hamstrings and what they mean to you. Are you comfortable in this stretch? Can you find a place where you're comfortable? And can you kind of change your perception based off of what you're learning right now about your muscles? Like, can you say, okay, well, I thought my hamstrings were tight, but I can get this far, so that's pretty good today, right? So it's a whole new day. It's a whole different you. No reason to hold on to the past, right? This, of course, translates into like a gazillion life lessons for you as well, right? The ways that we hold on to who we are, who we think we are, who we're supposed to be, and how that can change so easily just by looking at yourself in the present moment and recognizing that the limits that you have today are different than the limits that you had yesterday or the day before or the day before, and that you can actually change your mindset to decide that, like, okay, I'm going to let go of those limits, and I'm going to recognize that today's a little different, right? Yeah, okay. So now let's go into a stretch for the outside of our hips. You're going to lay on your side. This is going to give you some strength through your glutes, stretch out your IT band, and give you knee stability. This is very important. So lay on your side. I like to hold my head up, like I'm like, hey, what's up, right? Like I'm just laying around. And then bring your knees in front of you so that your hips are bent at a 90-degree angle and your shins are forward. And put your hand on top of your knee, and you're going to push up for strength, and then you push down for your stretch. You're resisting the whole time between your knee and your hand, and you just go up and down. This will burn a bit, so don't be surprised. This is another one where people sometimes hold on to like, oh, I have trouble activating my glutes. Well, I'll tell you guys, if you feel your glutes right now, they'll burn. You're not having trouble activating your glutes. So up for strength and down for stretch. And if you don't feel your glutes, if you feel something else, then maybe we do have some other things to work on, right? So keep going up and down. Okay, Pat, great. I'm glad you could make it. I just realized it's now 12, so that's all good. See you soon. So up for strength and down for stretch. And then if you want a deeper stretch on this one, very slowly reach your heel forward at the same speed that you're lowering it down. You're going to get a deeper stretch through the fascia. It'll feel a little bit more intense. You just go up and down, up for strength, and stretch it out for your stretch. And you just reset. And as you come down, try to straighten your foot out. Okay, and now let's switch sides. So you're just going to roll over. I'm going to flip around so I can still look at you guys. Bring your knees up at about 90 degrees. Your hips will be bent. Your knees will also be bent. Push up for strength and down for stretch. And you just go back and forth, up and down. Get some nice glute activation here. Up for strength and down for stretch. And when you feel like you're ready, reach your foot in front. See if you can get a deeper stretch there. You don't have to straighten your leg out all the way. You just do what feels good to you. See if you can find that great stretch through your glutes all the way through the outside of your leg. See how that feels for you. Hopefully, awesome. All right, my friends, and let's finish this off with our thread the needle stretch one last time, and then we'll be done for today, okay? So you're gonna come onto all fours. Bring your right arm up towards the left corner of your mat. Pull with that arm. In the picture here, shoes up on our fingers like this, but you can decide what you want to do. And then you're going to thread the needle by taking your taking your left hand and pushing it under so that you can look under your shoulder. You look under your right shoulder, your left hand stretches. From here, see if you can find some real good resistance with your left hand onto the floor. I'm also pulling with my right hand, and I'm just going to wiggle a little bit with my hips to see if I can get a deeper stretch through my lats. And then let's switch sides. So bring your left arm to the right corner of your mat. Take your right hand and thread the needle. So you're going to go under your arm like this. Thread it. See if you can reach through with your head, and then pull with your hand into the floor. Pull with your other hand into the floor, and see if you can just twist a little through here to get a deeper stretch to the back of your shoulder, through your spine. See if you can really enjoy that twist. Of course, only do what feels good to you, but enjoy it in the best way that you can. All right, my friends. So we did the thread the needle stretch, which was awesome, right? We worked a lot on letting go of what our preconceived feelings were about our bodies from the past and how today it can be a little bit more fluid. We talked about being patient and enjoying the motion from like start to finish, enjoying the stage that we're in now instead of thinking about where we're supposed to be in the future or where we thought we'd be, right? And we also talked a lot about integrating in our bodies, about feeling this balance between the front and the back, the yin and the yang, understanding that everything's working together. So pretty good class, I'd say. I'm super happy that you guys today. Definitely. Real quick before we go, I just want to make a few announcements. Don't forget that Life Renovations Week 3 starts this week. If you're interested in Life Renovations, you can start that diet playlist for each week. So you can start it whenever you want. Or you can just jump in this week at week 3. That's okay too. Just do what feels good to you. If you do want to join us live on this, like if you want to keep up week to week, maybe watch the lessons and do the journaling from the other weeks, but skip the meditation or the diet challenge. Stuff's not necessarily important. I mean, it's all important, but it's all just an integrative mind, body, spirit process, which I think is really fun and super cool. If you guys are able to give back today, here are some of the ways that you can do that, probably by need. Number 1, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Number 2, if you're able to contribute, please do. If you are not able to contribute, don't even worry about it. You can help me in so many other ways. And those ways would be like sharing with other people, sharing this with other people, giving me a thumbs up today, and maybe leaving a comment in the chat or in the comment box below, or in any of my other videos that you watch too. That'd be really, really helpful. Okay, friends, I'm so glad you were all here today. I'm really excited about this week, about Life Renovations, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.